all understand we all understand as therapists that patients have their own perception of how they're doing. But when you have something that encapsulates exactly what their thought process is, and it's able to put it into a nice little package that you can present to people, it's amazing how much the carryover, the compliance, and the conversation just takes off from there. So yeah, that I mean, that's a little bit about me. You'll learn more about me and everything in a little bit.
Awesome. Now moving on to Chris Ames. Chris, can you introduce yourself and tell us all about you?
Sure, absolutely. So my name's Chris Ames, and together with my wife, Rainey Ames, we are Ames Productions. We've been producing documentaries and providing media consulting since we got together many, many years ago. You can learn more about us at amesproductions.net. As journalists, we specialize in telling stories about and important topics and issues, which is why and how we created the Saving Claire Project. We realized that the stories that we were learning about and hearing about Linda Goldman, about the people she works with, and yes, about Claire, were important to many people. We were also, both of us, personally motivated to tell these stories. I lost my dad as a direct result of a fall, and Rainey lost her uncle as a direct result of a fall. So we knew it was a good project, but what we knew was a good project was then recognized for being a major positive force because it worked, because people actually committed to changing their behavior. And then we connected them with service providers who would support them as they did. Uh, we have worked with the Mayo Clinic, with the Marymount Center, University Center for Optimal Aging, numerous area agencies on aging. We have been approved for use and are currently being used by the Minnesota Board on Aging and the Virginia Department of Health and many other organizations, large and small, around the country. The key factor is an interactive storytelling based event with subject matter experts. That's you and any subject matter experts that you may want to invite to your events, who then connect with audience members. Once you start the film in this event, once you start this documentary film, the audience members engage with the stories that are in the film, with Linda Goldman, the playwright, and the others. And once audience members are engaged, their normal defensive barriers are lowered. Everybody's seen these defensive barriers, but when you run this film, everybody's engaged and they're not worried about being told what to do. And they identify with the characters in the play. And Chris Wilson can tell you, once you stop the film, once the film is over and you say, who identifies with Claire, so many people will raise their hands. Oh yeah. Then they're engaged. And that's the time that we have found we can reinforce the empowering aspect of the film, because then they're empowered. You can give them the tools to take steps that will help them reduce the risk of fall. So that's kind of a short introduction. I'm glad to share more information and answer any questions that you might have, and we'll cover some other things later. And then, Kara, we've got a video, right?
Yep. So before I play the video, in the chat, can you either put a yes or no in there? Have you guys heard of the Saving Claire project? Just to see kind of where everyone is at. To see if instead of just asking you guys to put it in the chat, I should have did a poll so we could actually had actually had results. So okay, so I'm going to share a video with you that Chris put together. And again, this is just a little glimpse into what this is like. And just to give you a little heads up, you know, and Chris will go into this in detail because he's utilizing it in his business, Home Therapy Solutions. We're going to be working with a group of therapists coming up at the beginning of the year and utilizing this in our practice. But basically, you're going to be using these films in the community, and the power of storytelling is well, let me play. As you all know, storytelling is huge, right? And so this will be a great way for you to share this film and engage in discussion within your community. So let me share this.
Before you started writing plays, what did you do before you became a playwright?
I was directing adults at leisure programs at my temple for 8 years. What I was seeing in comedy was getting to the point where it was silly, slapstick, offensive, particularly to seniors. Even in old age, we still want to learn, we still change, we still adapt. And I wasn't seeing this on stage. So that one that was so bad, I just said, I can write a better play than that. And I did.
You are about to enter a new dimension in live theater.
So I started a theater company. I was 70. Who knew? I wanted seniors in lead roles. And then I wanted it to dwell on issues that seniors face.
The number 2 call that we run is for falls, with over 80% of those being seniors over 55 and over. The whole world is an accident waiting to happen, right? Because we just take so many things for granted. I mean, we all think we're 20 years younger than we really are, and we think we remember back to those times. And we all want to do things on our own. We don't want people to help us.
You will meet Claire, a woman you might describe as just as normal as you and me, although perhaps a bit more strong-willed.
Yes, it was dark as a blackout, but it's a small threshold, and I've stepped over it thousands of times. I didn't think I needed to see where to put my foot. Next thing I knew, I was flat on my back.
We follow Claire from her first fall through the spiral that follows.
She hit her head this time. She's not going to make it.
I didn't want to leave things open-ended to show people that, oh, well, maybe if I make these wrong choices, I might have a chance. Claire didn't have a chance, and I want our community to know and understand that by making the poor choices, that is the path that you're leading.
Falls are the leading cause of injury and death in the United States.
You will die if you don't change what you're doing.
What in the world went wrong here? I didn't want to change anything.
The stubbornness of Claire really resonated with me because I'm very stubborn, and I think that, again, I can fly.
So somehow a fall has some kind of guilt attached to it, or some kind of negative connotation attached to it, that a person becomes resistant to whatever might be in the toolbox to help prevent it.
Put in night lights, motion lights, any kind of lighting that will help you see the way. That's going to help you prevent a fall. The bathroom is one of the places where we have a lot of slip and falls. So I always laugh and say, you know, if you don't prevent it in the bathroom, someone might see you when you just step out of the shower.
Fire department.
And maybe that's not your best look. Just saying.
Saving Claire works because people connect to stories. People are more likely to change their lifestyle when they see a character they identify with making the same change.
Nobody wants to admit that they're getting older. I mean, in the back of your mind, you look in the mirror and you say, who is that person? Where did all those years go? It awakened me as far as what I should do.
So it's changed my life quite a bit. There's a lot of things that I don't do anymore. I'm tempted sometimes, like I had to change this light up here on this thing, and I did go up one step, and I shouldn't have done that, because I promised her I wouldn't, because the results of falling are so overwhelming.
I removed a rug, that could have slipped. Right where you enter my home, which is a condo, I had a grab bar installed in the bathroom shower. I have different slippers that have grips on them.
What would you say to people who might be thinking about doing something big, after they've had another career, or doing something at 70 that they never really tried before? What would you tell them based on your experience doing this?
I would have never expected to become a playwright at this age. I would say put yourself out there, take a risk. Dreams are not just for the young.
I believe I'm part of one of the most important things that is ever going to happen to me professionally. The Saving Claire Project is so beneficial to not only clinicians who are trying to help seniors age in place, but also family members who have aging seniors that they're concerned about. And then on top of it, the seniors that are directly affected by the decisions that they make in their life and the living situation that they have. There's not much else that I've learned about in my entire occupational therapy career that crosses all three of those levels. I mean, doctors can watch this and they get the understanding, they get the feeling and everything. So, it's the most important thing that's going to happen to me professionally, because if it happens to me, that means that I can take it out and show it to the community and do something positive with it.
Okay, so that is a little glimpse of the Saving Claire project. And before we discuss even further, we're going to throw it back to Chris Wilson so he can talk about how he has implemented this into his private practice.
All right. Thanks, Kara. I hope you guys are enjoying this so far. What you've seen is just a very small portion of the amazing work that Chris and Rainey did when they were recording this. So we were given the opportunity to work in conjunction with the County Council on Aging in Jacksonville, Duval County, initially with this project. And what ended up happening was we were able to help them administer a grant. And part of that grant was that each patient was given a tablet that was going to have resources on it, but it was also loaded with the Saving Claire project. So when I went into a home, I wasn't a home health OT that is a stranger in their home. Instead, I was there to help the government administer a grant to get resources into their home, and also to help them understand the importance of making these fall prevention changes. So that was my first real, I mean, we did some presentations before that, but the really big kickoff was with Aging True. And that's when we went into 199 homes. I watched 199 people react to this video. More than that, actually, because usually it was a husband who was the patient and the spouse who's the caregiver, the unwitting caregiver who's taking care of this person. And they're both sitting there nodding their heads. If you ever when you get the opportunity to see the whole video, you're going to realize that there are moments in this video that every time I present, I see the same thing again and again. There's a funny moment where Claire falls, and unfortunately the entire audience laughs. And then it's amazing, the roller coaster, because a few minutes later, when the story is told again about her next fall, it's so drastic that the entire audience gasps. So if you can take an audience through this emotional roller coaster, by the time you get to the end of the presentation, what you have is you have a room full of people that have heard their story told in one form or fashion or another. In fact, we did a presentation several months ago at JCA, the Jewish Community Alliance here in Jacksonville. And a gentleman saw the flyer, Googled the name of the project, saw the trailer on the internet, and came just to the presentation so he could see the people that were doing the presentation. He was in tears in the back of the room by the time we were done with the presentation. And he pulled me and my assistant Jackie to the side and he said, I want to talk to you about my wife's situation. He wasn't the patient, but his wife had been newly diagnosed with Parkinson's, and this was after multiple falls. And he actually wanted the opportunity to present the video to her because he knew how important it was that she needed to prevent falls, but she didn't come with him that day. And eventually I was able to go to their home and help them. And to this day, he still reaches out to me, and it's a great relationship because the doors were opened by having that conversation. It's not good enough. And I know many of you therapists in the room have been in front of a room full of people. And when you try to tell a room full of people that they're going to fall in the next year, and that fall 1 in 17 times is going to change their life, half of them are going to look at you and think that you're crazy. But when you have a video like this and you can show that to them and you can use it to get into other facilities and other places where these people are, it's amazing the impact that it has. I mean, out of the 199 homes that we went into, we were able to affect change for most of those people. Some of them turned down the option because they either cried or they were moving or whatever. But for the most part, I can tell you beyond a shadow of a doubt that after doing the presentation in a room with a bunch of seniors, about an hour is about how long it takes, the conversation that happens amongst the participants and the presenters is priceless. And then you add on top of that the opportunity later on down the road, after you have built this trust equity with this patient, like the gentleman I was telling you about. I built this trust equity with this gentleman because of me, because of the project and him coming to it, to the point that he trusted me, and he trusted me so much that he forced his wife to trust me. And I can tell you that I was out there about a month and a half ago, and they have already done all of the things that were outlined in my assessment. And to this day, she has not fallen or anything. And we've made some tremendous changes for them. So when you're thinking about this, how it's going to fit into your repertoire and everything like that, just know that what we're providing you is a key that gets you into doctors' offices, libraries, the city, the state, the county, the hospitals, the council on aging, the senior centers. I mean, I can run down the list. I've done so many of these presentations, and when I walk in and tell them that I'm part of the Saving Claire project and that I share the trailer with the decision maker in that building, 9 times out of 10, I'm doing a presentation in the next month. As a matter of fact, my presentations are pretty much scheduled for 2025 in all of those places. So when you're thinking about how to use this as a marketing tool, understand that it's not only to help your business, but it's also to help grow awareness. And the more people that know about it, I actually have a fan. I have a lady who's come and seen me present 4 times. So just know that, like, you just never know what's going to happen. It was so funny when the lady showed up and I thought she looked familiar, and she's like, oh yeah, I've seen you. This is the 4th time I've seen you. You know, I'm waiting for her to call me, but you know, obviously it's going to take her a few times. So hopefully it's just a little bit of insight. I have a tremendous portfolio of notes that I've taken over this past year and a half that we've been doing. Year and a half, 2 years, something like that, Chris. It's been a while.
Yeah, 2.
But I've got this tremendous portfolio of notes, and I can help you along the way understand as a therapist who to talk to, how to talk to them, and how to take advantage of this amazing opportunity. What's even better, I'm just going to share this with you. You know as well as I do that if you want to get in front of a doctor, you got to stuff something in their mouth, right? You have to feed the whole office. But there are other companies out there that have bigger marketing budgets than you. And what they want is they want the opportunity to talk to the doctor about the same thing you want to talk to the doctor about. So let them pay for lunch. You show the video to the doctor and all of their patients, which means that you got a free pass in the back door to the doctor's office, talking about something that you normally would have had to buy lunch for the entire office for. So that's just get the gears turning. It's amazing how much this has helped my business. And it was all because of an introduction of a friend that, and then eventually had a conversation with Chris and Rainey. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris. And we'll have plenty of time for questions. And so you guys can ask Chris more questions as we go. So Saving Claire is used in conjunction with evidence-based programs and proven methods of OTs and PTs. The Saving Claire project has been invited to seek evidence-based designation. if they determine it's appropriate and sustainable. The Virginia data shows, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit, shows how the Saving Claire moves the cohort to be more likely to take actions that prevent falls. So based off of the little tiny glimpse that you guys watched, what kind of actions, before we even talk about it, do you think it can help guide people to take? Share that in the chat. So, you know, you're having this community film showing, and you present this film, and it's either 15, 30, or 45 minutes,
45.
Chris?
Right. There's 3
And
versions.
then after this, you have discussion, which they have a format for you to follow with that. But then it also, the goal is to get people to take action. So we have Heather saying, feeling comfortable saying they need help, adding home modifications in their home, admitting that falls are serious. Okay, what else do you think they may do after watching this? Admitting they are at risk.
That was it right there. Tomika Gary, you got it. Admitting that they're a risk. They got people telling them all day that they're a risk, they're a risk, they're a risk. They don't know they're a risk until they see a bunch of people talking about exactly the things that they're dealing with and they relate to it. That's it.
Awesome. Awareness of their balance. So a lot of great things coming in. So evidence-based programs are a good part of the mix. And we know they're no replacement for the expertise and advice of an OT or PT. And the Saving Claire project has been used by bigger organizations, as Chris Ames will discuss. But as Chris and I have been meeting weekly over the last couple months, I'm supposed to call Chris Wilson, and I just can't bring myself to do that. You know, we're very passionate about the fact that therapy professionals should be showing this and leading the discussion, because again, we should be the ones that are leaders in home and community-based care and falls prevention. And think about how, if we can help get them to, you know, have an evaluation of their home, if we can get them to assess their falls risk, if we could do medication assessments, you know, what can we do to impact not only the people that attended, but who they tell that they attend, and hopefully create this cycle throughout the community that we are able to help decrease falls overall in our community and beyond. So Chris shared some I'm going to share my screen here so you guys can see this. So this was, and Chris Ames, you can talk a little bit about this, but
Sure.
this is some statistics after the Northern Virginia community event. Do you want to talk a little bit about this
Sure.
and kind of go through some of these statistics?
You bet. You bet. Yeah, we were working with the Northern Virginia Falls Prevention Alliance, and a key leader in there is Sarah Papa of the Marymount University Center for Optimal Aging. And Sarah has, she's sort of like a Chris Wilson champion of this project because she's seen it live. She has this series was to over 800 people. And we took a survey of, we offered the survey to everybody. Roughly 200 actually took the survey. And of those 200, the number of people who actually responded positively, and you can see right there, was really kind of impressive. Because what they said was, you know, they hadn't done this before, but now that they have watched the film and had the discussion, and that's kind of an important one too, with subject matter experts such as an occupational or physical therapist, then they're going to start a regular exercise program. They're going to get their vision checked. They're going to get their assessment of their walking and balance. So we have seen real numbers of how effective this is. And this report is available. Kara can share it with you. We've been putting these reports together over the last few months to really assess. So these surveys, they're just simple one-page survey that people can ask. And this is how we work with the people who are presenting this. to engage their audiences, and then they can take this survey. We can collect the survey, and then we can collate this information. And we're hoping to work with you to do these sorts of things. And Chris Wilson has done this many times as well. Thank you, Kara. There you go. That's the survey. One page, 2 sections, and then a third just to see if you liked Saving Claire. And of course, everybody does.
So again, we're going to be talking about the importance of home safety evaluation, the importance of getting an assessment of walking and balance, starting an exercise program, getting hearing checked, getting vision checked, looking at medications. And our goal is to, try to get community members to take action, and put down, when do they plan to do this? And look at, maybe they don't plan to do it, but how can we get them, to take action and move forward with this? So, out of curiosity, with what we have shared so far, do you feel that you being able to share this film, do presentations in your community where you have, like maybe you go in before the film and you do like a quick fall screen survey to kind of get an idea who's at fall risk. You show the film, after the film you have discussion, you talk about all this. You could partner with other people in your community, like pharmacists, other people. Who else, Chris, have you guys partnered with to come in to do these presentations?
Emergency room doctors and RNs are very effective because they see it. They see it. And it says actually in the documentary, we have an emergency room doctor. So we have those, the pharmacist, yes, depending on what type of therapist. Depending on who you're with, it could be somebody who helps with insurance. It could be somebody who helps with engaging with the resources of the local community, because not everybody knows how they can afford to pay for certain things. And it's important to help people understand how they can take that next step. So lots of different subject matter experts. Sometimes it's home modification people, because, occupational therapists can tell you what you need to do, but unless you can hand them off or give them a suggestion. So lots of different people. And I think our experience is that people know who would work. The presenting sponsor in this case would know, well, I should probably bring in this person or that professional.
And there's some surprising people that you should be bringing along with you to these panels.
Yeah, again, the more you can network and collaborate, the more people you're going to reach. So, out of curiosity, who thinks that utilizing this film in your practice, in your community, could make a difference in reducing falls in the community, also as well as helping you in your practice be able to grow and reach more people? And be honest, because, we are literally just starting this. Chris Wilson reached out to me middle of the day, weekend, something, telling me he needed to connect with me. We talked, and then we met with Chris, and we're like, we really need to push OT, PT, private practices, that they should be the exclusive presenters of the Saving Claire project, because if we can get out there and talk to them, I'm going to speak from an OT perspective. When I go into the home or our therapists go into the home, we're not just doing a home safety evaluation. We're looking at, we also incorporate a medication assessment. We're looking at, socialization. We're doing caregiver education. There's so many components to it, right? So if we can be the ones out there doing these presentations, interacting with everyone, then, we can hopefully reach more people. So what we are doing is our goal is to work with 20 therapists who are interested in becoming the exclusive regional partner for their respective areas. So again, we want to make sure that, there's not 50 people. Well, we want to make sure there's not even 2 people or 3 people in one small area that is doing this, right? Because our goal is to really work with therapists and help them work to utilize in this practice to really make a difference, as well as we'll be collecting data that we can use to further show the evidence that stands behind it. So what we are planning on doing is working closely with 20 therapists to develop a tailored plan to integrate the partnership into your practice effectively. And as part of this, what we're going to be doing is we're going to do a few additional trainings. So we're going to do a training where we do an online learning session, training session, and make sure everyone feels comfortable with the film. They have access to all of the different materials that go with it. There's surveys, there's checklists, there's everything to help you make an event successful. We are going to be doing another session that's really focused on doing the event and getting that up and going. So we're going to have an event planning workshop to be able to make sure that your event is successful. And then after that, all therapists have to host at least one event in their community. And our goal is that all of the therapists that are part of this initial launch will host an event in your community before February 26th. So the introductory online training and the event planning workshop are going to take place in January. And then we want to really push this out there and start getting it going. And then we want the event done before February. And then we're going to all meet back, do a review, group discussion, reflect on the events, share feedback, and make any adaptations. So then we can hopefully go back out and work with even more therapists to help spread this across the United States. Chris Ames, I'm going to shoot it back over to you so that you could add on. I know you already talked about the Virginia data, but any other collaborators and supporters that you've worked with that you want to highlight before we go to further questions?
Sure, yeah. So organizations large and small, a lot of falls-free coalitions, and then Mayo Clinic, the University of Florida Hospital, Brooks Rehab, as Chris Wilson had said, the Baptist Hospital in Jacksonville, the Minnesota Board on Aging is the state organization for the area agencies on aging, and they have they're introducing this next year and going gangbusters with it for as many of the AAAs as they can, for all of them. The Virginia Department of Health has signed on with this, and they are rolling this out in Virginia. So for the people in Virginia, that's a possible, we can collaborate with you on that. Pinellas County has been doing this almost since the very beginning in Florida. The Village to Village Network is an interesting organization, a national organization of small, of cities, villages, and they're interested in collaborating with us to bring therapists to these community events that they have. Marymount University and the Northern Virginia Fall Prevention Alliance, the DC Fall Prevention Alliance, lots of organizations that we've worked with. For this project, we're working with Kara and with Chris to support you as you roll this out. So these training sessions are, we're hoping that that's what you need, but if you need more, let us know. We want you to succeed in bringing this to as many people as you can in your community. And one of the things that we found is that once you've presented this at an organization, they may want you to come back in 6 months because they may have different people attending an event. Regular events where people show up either weekly or monthly, very, very popular. I think somebody just popped in, there was Grandparents' Day or PTA. That's a great idea. I'm sure there's going to be lots of ideas that you guys are going to come up with. And yes, faith communities, senior centers are all very, very good choices to do this. And we'll give you all the tools that you need, or we'll support you with all the tools that we have available that we think will help you do this. With regard to the Virginia Department of Health, let's let's do a sidebar on that. We'll connect separately and put you together with that if you're from Virginia.
So, we actually, I know I talked a little bit about our therapy business builder program. So, and before we just threw this out to a lot of you, we did meet with our therapy business builder crew to get an idea on what they thought. And we really want to make this affordable for everyone to be able to implement it into your practice. So between Chris and other therapists, we took, everyone's feedback into how to make this happen, because there is some work behind it. And Chris, he actually puts things together for you. So I'm going to share this screen so we can talk about what is involved with it. Okay. So again, we're being really particular that there's one therapist in an area. So we will be sharing the form that you guys can sign up. And then after this meeting, we'll be going through the list and making sure that we don't have overlap and so forth for those that want to attend. But as far as doing this, the sponsorship includes your company name and logo at the beginning and end of the film, all 3 versions of the film. So you'll have the 15-minute, 30-minute, 45-minute film that you can show. They're also going to be doing creating a 45 to 60-second video that you can utilize in social media. And our goal is, again, that we showcase your business, but we also want to showcase you. So we're going to have you do a video with with you talking on it and create that. And then you also get supporting materials in order to make this happen. The surveys, the checklist, the steps to follow up, set it up, all of that kind of stuff. The introductory training sessions and technical support. So for you guys that are business owners and you're utilizing this in your private practice, again, this is going to be an investment into your practice that you guys are the exclusive provider in your area and able to showcase and present this. So from the feedback we received with therapists we've met with already, they requested a few options. So we created a quarterly, semi-annually, annually, or biannually option in order to put this together. Chris, you want to talk a little bit more? Chris Ames, you want to talk? Did I miss anything with that?
Sure. Yeah. So the goal is to get you up and running. Once I think Chris Wilson is a clear indication, and everybody we've worked with is a clear indication that once you start doing this, it's really valuable. And the more you do, the better it is. So we want to make it possible for you to do this. And that's where this form, there you go, you fill out the form, choose your regional area, and then choose how you want to engage with it, pay for it. What we'll do is we'll give you a link to all 3 versions of the program. You'll get a license to use the programs and the project. It'll be a password protected link. I personally like the 30-minute version. Chris likes the 15-minute because it's a little bit faster and he wants to get to the combo, but it's everybody has to make the choice. There's a 45-minute version as well, and that's appropriate for for certain venues. We also are going to provide you with an initial group of 4 short video segments that you can just post. If you want to, you can take those video segments and then add your logo to the beginning and end of them, post them on social media, however you see fit. You can send them out via email, on your website. We provide you with a project management tool, detailed instructions in checklist format. We provide electronic templates so that you can either add your logo to it or just use the Saving Clear logo to invite people or to create events, flyers for their events. We have the January, I think it's January 9th and then January 16th or sessions. And then we'll support you as you roll those out and set up your first events. I'm
And
forgetting something, I know.
I posted the form in the chat. So for those
Right.
of you that are interested in doing it, and again, say you fill out this form, and then once we reach out to you to say that you're invited to be a part of this, if you choose at that time to say no, you can. We're not pressuring anyone into this. So filling out this form isn't a contract. It doesn't mean you have to do it. I mean, we hope you do, because we hope we have a good crew that represents several areas across the United States to be able to do it. But I just want to make sure that, you know, you can say no once we send out the contract. But so this, and when we first started, we were really, you know, pushing the occupational therapists, but physical therapists, occupational therapy assistants, physical therapy assistants, you know, again, are all able to be part of this project. So basically, we're just asking for your email, your company name, company address, you know, what is the sponsor county or counties requested? You know, again, we really struggled with this area because, you know, like me in North Dakota in the Grand Forks area is a lot different than Chris Wilson in Florida. I mean, people count is very different. So company phone, point person, your website, and then what you want as far as sponsorship. Now, for this launch, we are waiving the $200 initial fee because again, this is a launch, right? That we're working on to be able to put this out there. So once after we do this initial launch, you know, there will be that $200 initial fee, and then the quarterly, semi-annually, annually, or biannually payments, depending on what you guys want for your business. Now, I love that Dawn asked these questions up here regarding you know, the data, the numbers, and so forth. And again, that's a huge part of this. Like the people that are going to be part of this, we're going to be working through what we have visioned for you to be able to utilize and start collecting data so that we do have that data and we are looking at that conversion rate for who turns into clients and so forth. So all part of this. And so we hope that it continues to improve. And yes, it does have a cost because Chris and Ramey have put in a ton of work over the past. How many years has this been?
I don't want to say, well, it's part of the Thriving in Place project, which we started in 2016. And so I think we started engaging with the Saving Claire project in 2019, and it's all been us that have been putting this together.
So there's a lot of work that goes behind it. Even if you even the social media posts alone are worth the investment to, you know, be able to help support them. And again, you know, prices in the future could go up depending on where we're at, because it is more work than you guys think as far as what Chris and those guys are using. So yes, Amanda, I've been kind of talking with Dakota Geriatrics, and we can definitely I would love to do research based with this. So that would be awesome.
I was gonna Kara, I was just gonna say one thing. When you were looking at the statistics for North Virginia, the 66% conversion rate, you guys as therapists are not ever going to walk into a room and have 66% of the people in that room immediately identify with what you're talking about. I mean, as soon as the whole room buys into what you're talking about, that you have a much better chance of relating to them. And that's what I'm seeing from the comments. A lot of it is, you know, how do we get people to buy into this, you know, to what we're trying to, how do we get the patients to buy into it? And that 66% number of all the statistics, Dawn, that's the number. If you can get 66% of the people on your side, as soon as you start talking about a polarizing topic, you're doing good.
Elizabeth asked a question in the Q&A. I don't know if you guys discussed this while I was pulling some of this up, but She said, does the whole video take 45 minutes? Is there time for therapists to discuss physical or other limitations that play a role in falls? Does presenting therapists have time to discuss how their expertise helps? Trying to get an idea of content flow or presentation. And that's I mean, Chris will talk about it, but that's exactly what we're going to be teaching you, how to utilize this in those sessions. Because again, not only do we want to impact falls in our community, we also want our private practice owners to be able to make a difference in their community. So we're going to help you learn how to integrate this into your practice, and by doing these presentations, be able to hopefully get more clients in your practice as well. Chris?
One of the great things about I'm gonna take it. One of the great things about working with Kara is that we are looking to develop a Saving Claire community approach. And once you become known as the person associated with Saving Claire, then you're the person, and people will hear about it, and they will remember you and then think about, oh, that's the person associated with that falls prevention thing, that Saving Claire thing. So you've got them engaged. And then the critical thing is you can repeat that, you can work with social media to repeat it, and then you can do some leave behinds. We got leave behind templates where you can either put your business name. It's not like you don't have to have them sign up right then. And a lot of people may, but a lot of people may not. But you're going to engage with them on a continuing basis over time. And everybody we work with, and that's why we're very pleased to be working with Kara. Everybody we work with is going to be a certain level of professionalism and approach. So you're a professional service therapist. You're going to have this working with other people. Everybody we work with is going to have this level of professionalism. So, for example, when you do an event, one of our absolute foundational principles is that attendees are never charged to attend an event. We're giving this away. We want to share this with attendees. You are providing this as a service to the community, and that way everybody can be open to this. They don't think there's a kind of a sales tool. It's not a sales tool. You're sharing this information with them, and then you can engage with them over time as it works out. It'll flow naturally as you do that over time.
Another thing to consider is look for grants in your area or other providers, or like, Amanda Wilson mentioned in my area, there might be other partners at universities that you can partner with to help cover the cost of the program as well. Because, say that you working with a university and so forth, you guys can work together and collect up. I mean, there's so much possibility. And Chris, you mentioned you first got into this, Chris Wilson, through a grant, right?
Yes. Yeah, actually it was oh God, I wish I could remember the name of the grant, but I mean each house got about $6,500 worth of modifications. I mean, they were also looking at roofs and appliances and flooring and everything like that, but I mean, it was a huge project. It was a huge project. And
Yeah, and I think it came from the ACL, right? The
yeah,
Administration for Community Living
yeah.
at the federal level.
And to be honest with you, if I was just there to help people fix their roofs and their broken windows and their bad appliances, then they would have absolutely let me through the door. But what opened the door for the communication about their fall risk and making changes to their home and allowing the grant people to do the modifications to the home was the Saving Claire project. Them sitting there and watching the project, and understanding that they're part of this fraternity of people that become a fall risk, and it changes their life if they don't make changes. So that really helped with the compliance. I like to use that word because we're really talking about identifying somebody, making recommendations, and then getting them to follow through. That's the compliance part. And without going into those 199 homes with a tablet so they could watch this video, I don't think that as many of them would have been compliant. They would have probably rather just had their roofs replaced and their appliances fixed, but we were able to do much more with that because of it. So it affected a lot of change.
What other we have about 3 minutes left. What other questions do you guys have? Especially for Chris and Chris, because they've been doing this much longer than I have. So If you have
I
additional
do see
questions.
I do see a question about the, I already filled out the form. I put one county. You can go back in, I think, that form and you can adjust that. And our goal is 250,000. Ask for more and we'll work with you. We want to work with you. We're just putting some sense of regional exclusive because we want it to be exclusive. We want you to be able to feel like you can work this area and have the time to do that too.
And then our ultimate goal, right, Chris, is that eventually we'll cover the whole United States and have a community of therapists that are leaders and are the main sponsors for this. So
Right, right. Because you're working with a program that now works with our understanding of the way people understand things and connecting. You've got that level of trust. When you tell this story and you're the person bringing that story to these people, they trust you. And that level of trust is really kind of special and sacrosanct. There is a question about OTA program. Whoever you want to present it with. I mean, yeah, I think anybody who is learning, who is in the process of developing and becoming a occupational or physical therapist should see this. As Chris Wilson says, doctors should see this.
Yes.
Students should see this. Everybody should see this. We target people, we say 50 plus. I don't know, I think the AARP is 50 or 55 plus. Part of what I really like is that we target people. If you're over 50, you may have parents who you can see this and understand this, and then you can tell your parents about it and then they can see it, but at least you're informed. So yeah, definitely anybody who wants this. We actually had a showing, an event at Eckerd College in St. Pete, and half the students, we had mostly students, and half the students were just so excited and they wanted to tell their parents and their grandparents about this. And it was kind of moving, actually. So yeah, definitely education in OTA. And 55 plus communities, absolutely.
So Heather had a question on after the initial training, what do the fees cover?
Right. So access to the password protected access to the 3 versions, and we're going to be producing, and this is something that we're developed with Kara, we're going to be producing a monthly short video, and we will work to share that with you. And then sometimes you can put your logo in that and share it out with your social media. You have the access to that. Our technical support, once you've done this a few times, you probably won't need it, but we're there if you need it. And we will work with you to develop the surveys so that we can access the surveys and see what they're saying. That's really kind of important to work with you on that.
And just so you guys know, I mean, only the people that are part of this community are the only people that can show this film. This film isn't available for the general public, isn't available for George down the street to go show it. So, you know, being part of this project and the fees gives you access to be able to show the film, access to all the materials and support that they provide. So hopefully that answers your question, Heather. If you have others, just let us know. So.
And definitely reach out to one of us if you have questions separately. We definitely want to answer those questions if you have them. Okay, great. Yeah. Thank you. I think this
agree
is
with Marina, what she said. It is your marketing package. You don't have to worry about making content for the duration of the time that you have this exclusive access. You don't have to worry about making marketing content because it's going to make itself for you. You're going to have time-lapse videos of people watching the film. You're going to have backward shots. You're going to have all kinds of stuff. So lots of great opportunities there with the marketing, which is what I did not get when I signed up for this project.
So you have the benefit of Chris's experience, and Chris is going to be a continuing support as well. And Kara, obviously with her development program, but Chris is available as a technical resource as well to see how he's been using it.
And I'll be on for the other trainings as well.
Yes, and the regional exclusivity is kind of an important thing because as long as you are engaged with us, you are the regional exclusive. And if you're not, then somebody else may want to be that regional exclusive in your region. I get it. And you know, everybody has to make a decision about that. But it is password protected. You have to, you show the video, you don't download it. You have to show it, and you can't record it. And you can't distribute it. You can't share it with anybody else. It's yours and only yours. You're the one who is, your team, your private practice is the only one who's going to be presenting this. So it is, there's a lot of value to that exclusivity. And we want to control how this is distributed because we only want to work with professional service providers, professional therapists who have a certain level of professional conduct. We know we can count on that.
And as far as the timeline moving forward, we are leaving this open because we had several, I think we're up to about 140 people that signed up for the webinar. So we want to make sure that people who are watching the webinar recording have a chance to review this and also sign up. And so we're leaving it open until Sunday because Chris Ames didn't think closing it on Friday the 13th was a good idea. So we're leaving it open until Sunday, and then after Sunday, we will review, and then we will be reaching out to all of you that will be part of the program, and then we will send you the information so you can start planning, but then we will have the meetings in January in order for the further training on everything, and then the presentation planning, and then, of course, you being able to do this in the community, and then the additional session afterwards. So that is the general timeline. If you have other questions between now and Sunday, reach out. We'll send an email out to everyone that signed up for the webinar with the recording. I'll send out Chris and Chris's emails so you can contact them as well if you have any additional questions. So as well as if you guys have feedback or ideas. I mean, our real goal is that the 20 people that are willing to do this, you know, are really going to be kind of the leaders and at the ground floor. And I'm sure they will all have ideas and suggestions after doing this the first time that will adapt and then hopefully expand further from there. Yes, OTAs, PTAs, OTs, PTs, of course.
Yeah, there's a question, would I only be allowed to show it within the county that I live in? So you're going to designate the county, and whatever county is your service area for your private practice, up to 250,000 or so. That's where you're going to be showing it. January 2nd, reach out to us separately.
Yeah, Chris, she's part of our therapy business builder program, so she knows how we do all of the other stuff. So
work
yeah,
with
Heather,
Kara on
let's
that.
chat. We'll be able to make that happen.
Good.
Awesome.
Good way to get
Okay,
your
thank you
feedback, too.
guys.
Yeah.
Chris, any last words? Wilson?
No,
that you want to add?
thank you very much, everybody, for coming. If you have any questions, my email's in the chat. Otherwise, reach out to me. You see me on Facebook and everything. So whatever.
Thank you, Kara. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, everybody, for your time today.
Thank you. Bye-bye.